TheAdvocateChannel.com looks at the world through the lens of equality and inclusion. Subscribe, like, and share now. AC 24/7's Top Story Countdown continues with our producer's pick for number 3.
From the moment he took over with a stunt where he carried an actual sink into the building. Elon Musk's tenure of a little more than half a year as Twitter's leader could be fairly characterized as chaotic and gutting. The flamboyant, eccentric billionaire now stepping aside as CEO of the platform and naming Linda Yaccarino to take his place. Yaccarino comes from NBC Universal, where she was chief of global advertising.
I think in hiring Linda, Elon Musk is, for the first time since he took over Twitter, conceding a major role. And he's doing that because he knows that the future of Twitter depends on it. That, I think, will empower Linda to make a lot of strategic changes.
One of the biggest crises at Twitter, among many during Musk's stewardship, has been the exodus of advertisers. According to the marketing analysis firm Pathmatics by Sensor Tower, 625 of the top 1,000 Twitter advertisers had pulled their ad dollars from Twitter as of late January. Brands like Coca-Cola, Jeep, Wells Fargo, and Merck. Revenue plummeted. Analysts say that's where Yaccarino can turn things around.
Linda Yaccarino is considered one of the foremost leaders in advertising in the entire industry, both media and technology. There's now going to be a person at Twitter who will actually speak to these companies in a way that they like to be spoken to.
Advertisers had been concerned about the massive staff cuts at Twitter under Musk. They'd worried about his reinstatement of users who'd previously been banned, and the rise of hate speech on Twitter, as reported in recent months by groups like the ADL and the Center for Countering Digital Hate.
When Mr. Musk took over Twitter, he sent out the bat signal and allowed homophobes, racists, transphobes, all sorts of bigots to flood back onto that platform. And the result has been an increase in the amount of hate speech on that platform.
Musk also eliminated the verification system at Twitter, which caused pandemonium. Someone was recently able to impersonate New York City's official Twitter account. He alienated mainstream media outlets.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson.
And now, former Fox News host and right-wing agitator Tucker Carlson claims he'll soon launch a new show on Twitter, although Musk hasn't confirmed that. How might Linda Yaccarino handle Carlson?
So let's say Tucker Carlson does launch a show on Twitter. It's people like Linda who are going to make sure that the Olympics is also streamed, that red carpet events, that sporting events are also streamed on the platform, which can hopefully balance it out.
Like the Advocate Channel on Facebook for the best way to get updates on stories that advocate for equality, justice, our rights, and more. AC 24/7 continues with today's top 2 pick.
Step inside this shelter in the heart of El Paso, Texas, and you'll find people waiting in limbo. They're migrant families, some single mothers who told us they were recently processed and released by border authorities. While some children, visibly exhausted, nap inside. Others play in the courtyard. Their young minds spared the anguish of moms and dads trying to figure out when or even if they can continue the rest of the journey. In what can easily become a hopeless space, it seems the migrant mothers keep hope alive here. Connie Barahona keeps it together for Daniela, her 9-year-old. She says 2 of her older daughters, ages 18 and 20, remain in federal detention.
Es muy triste porque mis hijas no van a estar.
It will be a sad Mother's Day, she tells me. My daughters won't be by my side. In the last 3 days, Barahona turned down coveted opportunities to travel to Houston, refusing to go anywhere without all her daughters.
Juntas salimos de Honduras y juntas hasta donde sea, si Dios lo permite.
We left Honduras together, and that's how we must remain until God allows, the single mother says. She forged a friendship with fellow migrant mom Yascari Gonzalez, who left South America 3 months ago with her partner and their son, Jason. We found another motherly bond in this corner of the shelter, where Yornella Falcon receives help in caring for baby Jeremy, just 2 weeks old. His mom tells me she carried him from Venezuela to Texas, where she went into labor immediately after stepping onto U.S. soil. All of the migrant mothers we spoke to say maternal instinct to provide for their children is what drove them to make the perilous journey in the first place.
Haría cualquier cosa con tal de ver a los hijos.
A parent will do anything to see their children safe, says Barahona. A hug from Daniela seems to help ease any of Mom's sorrows. I ask her what she wants to be when she grows up.
Costurera.
También como mamá.
A seamstress, like Mom.
Follow the Advocate Channel on Twitter and Instagram to stay updated on stories that matter every day. Here's our #1 story of the day. Take a look.
Dr. Lauren Miller specializes in maternal fetal medicine and high-risk pregnancies. She's been treating women and performing abortions here in Boise, Idaho for the last 5 years. But things are different now that the state has passed a near-total abortion ban.
What's your greatest fear?
Being tried as a felon simply for saving someone's life.
Last August, Idaho made abortion illegal, with 2 exceptions. An abortion can still be performed if the mother's life is in danger, and in the cases of rape or incest that have been reported to a law enforcement agency. But Dr. Miller says the law is still somewhat murky.
We have a death exception, and that is it, without any other guidelines. If I don't act fast enough to save your life, prevent you from getting septic, I could be liable for civil cases. But if I act too quickly and I'm not 100% certain that the patient is going to die from the complications she's sustaining, then I could be guilty of a felony.
What is the bar then? How do you know when it's okay to intervene?
We don't know what that bar is, and no one wants to be the guinea pig first test case of that.
Complicating matters even more, the new law allows family members to sue providers who perform an abortion for at least $20,000 if it doesn't fall within the scope of the abortion ban here. Doctors in those cases also face suspension of their medical license, felony charges, even prison time.
How does that square with what your medical training has taught you about treating women?
That's a huge part of why I'm leaving. It is true moral injury, right? I cannot provide the care that I've been trained to. It goes against what we're taught as physicians to protect the health of our patients.
Idaho's governor also signed a law that says anyone helping a minor travel out of state to terminate a pregnancy without parental consent is guilty of a crime. Dr. Miller has decided to move her practice to Colorado, where abortion is still legal, and she's not the only one leaving. Of the 117 doctors she informally surveyed in Idaho, 75 answered yes or maybe when asked if they were considering leaving, at least in part, because of the state's abortion laws. Dr. Kylie Cooper, who worked alongside Dr. Miller, has already left Idaho and is now working in Minnesota, where abortion is legal.
We decided to leave Idaho because of the abortion bans. It was a really difficult decision. My husband and I had many conversations about what would it actually look like if I were charged with a felony and then went to prison. Should I go say hi to
Dr. Cooper says she feels much safer after leaving Idaho.
Having to watch somebody get sicker in front of your eyes and not be able to help them is just hard to even comprehend. That's not the way that I was trained to practice medicine. No one is. We don't let people get so sick when we have all of the means and the tools to be able to help them.
Back in Idaho, Dr. Miller says of the 9 full-time maternal fetal medicine physicians in the state, 5 of them will have left by the end of this year. Keep in mind, these are the doctors who deal with the most significant pregnancy complications. Jim Souza is the chief physician executive at St. Luke's Hospital.
We're at the beginning of the collapse of an entire system of care. If the momentum doesn't shift and we continue to pull planks out of the Jenga tower of this system of care, there's no question that there will be bad perinatal outcomes for moms and babies.
Thanks for watching the Advocate Channel's top stories. We're on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Follow, like, and share, or check out advocatechannel.com for even more stories that advocate for you.